John David Washington is one of the biggest rising stars in Hollywood. His father is Denzel Washington, arguably one of the biggest critical and financially successful actors in Hollywood today, and an icon amongst both African Americans and non-African Americans alike. Denzel is a two-time Oscar winner and a multi-time Oscar nominee, most recently being nominated for Best Actor for the 2016 film Fences, starring himself alongside fellow acting powerhouse Viola Davis, in which he also produced and directed. Needless to say, John David Washington was almost destined to enter Hollywood at one point or another, perhaps following in his father's footsteps. However, earlier on, it wasn't always the case. Like many actors do, Denzel plays John David as an extra in a few of his films while he was a kid, most notably the 1992 film Malcolm X, along with the underrated 1995 film Devil in a Blue Dress. Denzel may have had plans for John David to follow in his footsteps, but as John David grew up, his interests changed and decided to focus on playing sports, more specifically football. Washington attended Campbell Hall High School in Los Angeles and was a jack of all trades sports-wise. In addition to football, he played basketball and ran track. He was a letterman. Even though his father is probably who most people might gravitate to when they talk about John David's parents, he makes sure that people understand that his mother, Pauletta Washington, was actually the breadwinner when they had gotten together, stating that she made more money than Denzel did, was already performing on Broadway, and paid for the first date as well as the cab ride home. In an interview with the Today Show in 2018 while promoting BlacKkKlansman, he explains that his mother was a classically trained pianist, went to Juilliard. She's a great artist in her own right, and I learned a lot from her. My father taught me how to hunt. My mother taught me how to love. On to why he chose to play sports at first. He felt as his father became a bigger and bigger name in Hollywood and in the world, he felt like people were changing around him, and it brought him much anxiety. He felt like he needed to focus on a different outlet to block out all the anxiety and the tension, and that outlet turned out to be football. After a 4-year stint playing football for Morehouse College, he entered the 2006 NFL Draft, and while he was undrafted, he ended up signing with the then St. Louis Rams. Eventually played a bit in NFL Europe, but then returned to U.S. football and played 3 seasons for the Sacramento Mountain Lions of the United Football League. He was able to work out for the Giants in 2013, but during the session, he ruptured his Achilles tendon, an injury that is very hard to come back from in any sport, but especially football. He expressed that after that, he had trouble understanding his destiny. He still had great love for the craft of acting, and chose to give it another shot. Eventually, he started to audition for roles in secret. His acting career was just beginning as he landed the starring role of Ricky Jarrett in the Dwayne Johnson-led HBO series Ballers in 2015. The role was perfect for him because of his knowledge of football and the NFL, which is what the show ultimately was about. He held his own against a lot of established actors, and it was certainly his breakout role in terms of television. He went on to act in 5 seasons of the show, and in 2018, he had his film breakout year. He starred in a number of films that included the indie drama Monsters and Men, The Old Man and the Gun, and the Oscar-winning film BlacKkKlansman, which ultimately is the most famous of the bunch and put himself on the map. Since Spike Lee was a huge collaborator with Denzel in his earlier work, he felt that John David would be a perfect choice to play the lead role of Ron Stallworth, an African-American police detective in the 70s who successfully infiltrated the Ku Klux Klan, based on a true story. The film was a critical and financial success, and apart from directing and writing credits, a lot of critics and journalists felt that a nomination for John David was warranted. He was praised for his performance, and many noted the unmistakable similarities between him and his father's work. He ended up being nominated for a Golden Globe and SAG Award, and while he didn't win, his performance is definitely revered by many. Fast forward 2 years into present-day 2020, he landed a role of the protagonist in Christopher Nolan's new film Tenet, which due to the current pandemic has been delayed again and again. However, it seems to be releasing this week overseas and eventually will be releasing in the US in September, which is something to look forward to. This marks the first time Nolan has had an African American lead in any of his films, which is amazing in my opinion to see a relatively new actor get a role like this in such a big movie. I don't know too much about the plot, so doesn't anybody who hasn't seen it yet, but it looks to be another thrilling psychological science fiction epic. The trailers look wild, and the speculation is rapid. John David has expressed excitement for the film along with the joy of working with his co-stars that include Robert Pattinson and Elizabeth Debicki. It also was recently confirmed that during the earlier half of the pandemic, he acted in a movie in secret alongside Zendaya entitled Malcolm and Marie, produced and directed by HBO's Euphoria creator Sam Levinson. The recent world conditions have seemed to not stop him from creating and being a part of big projects, and at the age of 36, his career is only just beginning. Can't wait to see how much he evolves as an actor and what other interesting projects he takes part in. As always, thank you for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe.